Concerned by the current situation of the state of the nation, Nigeria, eminent leaders of thought on the ages of the Patriots have slated July the 16th, 2025 to convene an emergency national constitutional summit. The Patriots National Conference were headed by a coalition of civil society groups, former governors and advocacy networks.
Organizers of the confab say its mission is to gather stakeholders from every corner of the federal, state, and local government, as well as citizenry, charting a path forward on critical issues such as constitutional amendments, fiscal federalism and revenue sharing, security architecture, including state police, as well as electoral reforms and inclusivity.
But Nigerians have seen confabs before, but the real test is whether political heavyweights will let these discussions translate into action, especially with the 2027 elections looming. Join us to shed more light on the proposed confab and its significance this morning on Breakfast Central is human rights activist, Madam Ann-Kio Briggs. A warm welcome to you, Madam Briggs, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
All right, let's take a quick break and work out these technical difficulties because this is a national conversation of importance that we must have with Ann-Kio Briggs. We'll take a quick timeout and we'll be back. Is this confab a genuine reset, addressing the grievances that we all have, or is it more? Stay with us. And as we said, joining us to shed more light on the proposed confab and its significance is human rights activist Ann-Kio Briggs. Ms. Briggs, thank you so much for joining us this morning once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
I don't know about the glitches, but hopefully we can get on.
Thank you so much for joining us, Madam Briggs. Now, the big question is, why is this confab happening? Why are we having another confab? That we've had confabs and reports in the past, and the recommendations are gathering dust in the corridors of power. That will this be another talk show? Why is it important to have this confab now? And how are you confident that the recommendations will be implemented?
First of all, you're quite right when you say that we've had several of these in the past. If you remember, since even before 1960, independence of 1960, Nigeria has had constitutions. And at the last count, we believe we've had about 9 constitutions so far. I don't know if we're the highest. None of the recommendations, at least since independence, really, apart from a lot of people say, and I tend to agree with them up to some point, that the best was the 1963, which was regional. After that, and the last one, the one Obasanjo did, and also the one that Jonathan convened, none of those were taken aboard for one reason or the other. In my opinion, it just shows that the political will is not there. And we've gone from good constitutions or semi-good constitutions to very bad constitution, which is the 1999 constitution that everybody else, every other person has said that this is not the right constitution. One, we the people did not write this constitution in 1999. It was written by the military just before they left and handed over to the incoming ex-general who became the president of Obasanjo. And we've been battling and haggling and discussing.
We seem to be having some connectivity issues, but hopefully we should have.
Of whom
okay,
I am a member. And if you look at the very great personalities that people like the late Sir Rotimi Williams, and then himself at one point was with the Anahoro group when we put together the People's Constitution immediately before the 1999 Constitution came out. So we've been on this for a very long time, and we believe, and I join in that belief with the Patriots and some other persons, that if anybody understands in terms of democracy why we should have a new constitution, it would be the present President Bola Tinubu, because of the role he played during the Nadeko days, leading up to the death of Abacha, and then eventually the elections, that he of all persons is in a good position to push forward. And he did promise us, the Patriots, when we visited him sometime last year with our first introduction, that we do need a new constitution in Nigeria. We're not looking at panel beating the 1999 Constitution.
Okay.
We're not looking at any other thing, but actually the people of Nigeria, as you introduced it, from all nooks and crannies, coming together, not under government this time. We're not funded, well, at least I don't know, because I'm paying my way to the Constitution, to the Congress. So definitely it's not a government thing. It's a Nigerian thing. It's Nigerians that have coming together to do this. So maybe this is the one that would work.
So I want to follow up on that, because as Benga said, Nigerians are used to confabs, we're used to summits, we're used to so many things. Even now there is a constitutional review. There's a constitutional review happening across the states in the federation, and you find out that a lot of people are not involved. You hear from the people involved, but you find out a lot more Nigerians are not involved. So I'm very curious as to how you're going to get the buy-in of the people. I have a follow-up question after that, but for first, let's focus on getting the buy-in of ordinary citizens, of the citizenry of Nigeria, who have had their lives shaped and formed by several constitutions that did not come of them in the most parts. As you said, the criticism of the 1999 Constitution was that it was written and handed over by the military to a former military official, just finding a way to continue what they were doing constitutionally and democratically. So how do you get the buy-in of Nigerians who have been in some form browbeaten, who have been pushed to the ground, pushed to the wall, who have, this very same 1999 Constitution has often even been used against them, used against their freedoms and their rights, even with those freedoms and rights, even inside the Constitution. How do you get us to buy into what you're doing?
Absolutely, and that's a wonderful question, because you are a Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian. This is about you. This is about the market woman. This is about the vulcanizer. It's about the judge. It's about everybody, and so everybody should have a buy-in if they get to hear about it. And so the Patriots have done a lot of sensitization, a lot of media work, as much as we can do to sensitize people to come in and be part of what is being done, so that it will be their constitution. Now, what we're doing is to make sure that as many Nigerians as possible are aware of this. We're not making any input more than any persons, just gathering Nigerians from all the 6 geopolitical zones, from all states. I'm from the South-South geopolitical zone, the Niger Delta region. I am from Rivers State. I'm from an ethnic nationality. And so everybody's voice, every nationality should be represented. Every state is represented. Every zone is represented. The reason, if you are aware, the reason why this was shifted from today to tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to do this tomorrow, is because of the passing of the former president, late President Buhari.
Yes. In
honor of him, it's been shifted. And so we will go ahead and make sure that at least we sit down, come to an agreement amongst us, and then go ahead and hand it over to the president and the National Assembly, so that the National Assembly will then be able to play the role that it should play by putting together and agreeing with us that this should be done on our behalf. They are representatives, and that at some point, when we come to them, which will be after this first sitting down and discussing, then it will go to the presidency and it will go to the National Assembly and say that, look, this is what we have come up with as Nigerians, and this is our request. Now, Nigerians have to be involved, because the grounds that we first have with this 99 Constitution, as you have said, is that Nigerians did not sit down to write this Constitution. So until Nigerians sit down to write this Constitution, the fact that we don't, we have all these faults, blatant faults with this Constitution, where almost 80% of the powers that should be with the states are with the federal government, is not acceptable, because then the people are not represented. And quite rightly, the Constitution has allowed the governors, the representatives, even the president, no matter whom it is, and not just Bola Ahmed Tinubu, any other president that has so much powers, to use it against the people of Nigeria, so that the people of Nigeria are disempowered. We have interference or seeming interference with the judiciary issue that should be the last hope of the common man. So there is a lot going wrong. Most of the things that is going wrong with the country is from lack of political will, lack of good personalities, good people in government, and also lack of a good constitution that will hold everybody, you and I, and the people in government, accountable to every Nigerian, and every Nigerian are even accountable to the people that are governing them. But we have to start somewhere, and some of us have become synonymous with, if you like, with voicing that, hey, look, what's going on in this country is not acceptable. Not because we have nothing else to do, but if the fish is, if the head is rotten, then I mean, you just can't eat the fish, and that's where Nigerians are, from diplomatic relationships to the rights of Nigerians abroad, to the rights of Nigerians in Nigeria, to accountability, you name it. We don't have it in Nigeria, whichever way you look at it. And I think it's only Nigerians, I believe, not I think, it's only Nigerians that can fix it. And if it means that we have to continue to knock our heads against the brick wall until perhaps when we refuse to do it anymore, then that's the way it's going to go. But I believe this is in the interest of Nigerians, it's in the interest of the people who claim that they are our representatives and politicians, to actually stand up and serve the people of Nigeria under a constitution, or on a constitution that Nigerians have given to them to work with. Like right now, you mentioned that there is a constitutional reform going on that is being done by the National Assembly. Well, yes. Well, some of us have not even bothered, because we keep saying that you cannot continue to bandage Nigeria and plaster Nigeria over without actually letting us sit down and agree to what is right and what is wrong, from resource management to resource sharing to security, to representing Nigerians out of Nigeria. You know, so much is wrong, and we must fix it.
So I quickly want to follow up, because I know Gbenga has a question, because as we talk about the Constitution review, some would say, who gives the Patriots the, I guess, the legitimacy, maybe I'll use that question, in terms of being able to do this? What legitimacy does the Patriots, and I believe you're working with the MPSG in having this summit, what legitimacy do you have in introducing a draft constitution, given that, according to the Constitution, constitutional drafting is traditionally the mandate of a constituent assembly or the National Assembly, and not an advisory conference? And even while me and you may agree and have our concerns about the constitutional review processes happening across local governments in the country, those are the ones that by law are mandated to be able to reform, review, redraft the Constitution. So people might ask, where is the legitimacy for the Patriots and the MPSG to even hold this confab and present the president with a draft constitution?
The legitimacy is coming purely because we're Nigerians, and then purely because we are the ones who have decided to step forward. Look, if any other group of persons that are Nigerians come forward the way that the Patriots and the other associates have decided to come forward on behalf of Nigeria, definitely I would be part of it, and I'm sure a lot of the Patriots will be part of it. The Patriots have come forward because no other person has come forward. You quite rightly said earlier on, there have been a lot of other sitting downs from government. Obasanjo has done his own, so many other people, Jonathan did his own. At the end of the day, quite rightly, it's gathered dust in some office or the other. And so giving it one more shot, if you like, is something that is the right of every Nigerian to do, and it is in our interest to do it. We're not just saying we have written a constitution and we want you to carry this constitution. No, I mean, we're hopefully going to expect the government to do it right and say, okay, we will do this with you, but we'll take it to referendum. We will take it to plebiscite. Now, some will tell you that the referendum, the right to referendum, is not actually in our constitution of the 1999. Well, referendum is a very basic right for people to do. If you don't agree with what is being done in your name, then you should. It then should take us to referendum or plebiscite. So if that is what it will take then to get another constitution that is written by the people, for the people, then that is what ought to be done. That we are taking the first step. It's not an easy step to take. It's not an easy thing to do, because questions like you've asked, who gave us the audacity? Who gave us the authority? Where are we deriving our rights from? We're deriving the only right that we all collectively have, which is the fact that we're Nigerians, and we think that this constitution is against the Nigerians. From one corner to the other of this country, there is something working against us within this constitution, just for the mere fact that it says we the people. No, we the people did not. So let's start even from there. No fisherman, no farmer, no palm wine tapper, no plantain roaster was involved. So let's get ourselves involved and come up with a constitution that will bind the politicians. Look, a lot has gone wrong. We have a situation that has taken place in Rivers State, for instance, and everybody has said it's wrong, it's unconstitutional, but hey, well, it's gone on, it's happened, and it can happen to another state. And if a new constitution is going to make sure that this does not happen, then so be it. Because look at what Shettima said. Shettima has said Jonathan wanted to do similarly or exactly the same thing. And the Attorney General told him, no, you can't do it. Now, here comes along the presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and went ahead and did exactly, if not worse than what Jonathan wanted to do, all because we do not have the right people who are accountable to us, and we cannot really hold on to a constitution that we have not written, and people are swearing to serve Nigerians on that constitution, and yet they get into office and they do the total opposite of what they've sworn to do.
Now, Madam Briggs, people often say you're halfway to solving a problem when you identify that there is a problem, and your group, the Patriots, have taken the bold and brave step of setting up this, audacious, if I may add, of setting up this confab. I have a few questions for you. What are the modalities? How would you come about the draft constitution? And is this really, is it a pan-Nigerian conference? Is it all encompassing? Does it cover all Nigerians from all walks of life? And is there also a timeline to this?
Definitely, it has taken into account from the moment it was decided to make contact with the president, how we're going to go about it. And we've had the first interaction with the president. He was not against it, but he said it was not a priority for him at that time and his government, which we accepted. But that didn't mean that we should drop the idea. He didn't even suggest it because he couldn't suggest it that we should drop the idea. He is a Democrat, as I have said. He has demonstrated that even before he became governor of Lagos State during the Nadeko days, during the military era. He was a victim, like many people, of the oppressive regime. So, and he also had said to us at that time that he would definitely be open to us. To having another interaction with him. So we believe that this is another interaction that we have a right to take to him. Now, I said earlier that every zone, south, southeast, southwest, north central, northeast, northwest, every zone is involved. People like Tamboa are involved. And that's why we can't really go on today, because a lot of people across Nigeria from all the geopolitical zones are heading or have headed to Daura in Katsina. And so it is when they finish that we will come back. So definitely there is a broad representation. Now, the content has been discussed prior to this time by the states, by the representation within the states. You see, that is why sometimes I say that, or most of the time I say that, you can't say people should not talk about ethnicity. Now, ethnicity itself is not a bad way. Now, if you have a state that has, like in my state, that have Ikwere, that have Ogoni, that have Ijo, that have Ekpeye, you can't really not have everybody or most people from the different places expressing themselves. So in that sense, a lot has been done. And if we find that if some have been left behind, then when we sit down, because we're not putting full content into it, we're making, if you like, headline or point suggestions and saying the area of security, the area of state police, the area of devolving power, the area of how to tackle tackle corruption, in the area of how to do the right thing, obey the laws, not to find ourselves within a judiciary system that has let the people of Nigeria down, in my opinion. And so when we begin to express these ideas, it will go into the draft constitution. And at that point, Nigerians will come together and begin to assess, if you like, what has been put into the draft constitution, and then say, no, let's take this out because this doesn't favor me, or I don't want this. You can have it in your state, we cannot have it in our state. And that begins to give power to the states, which is what federalism is all about. Power must first come from the state, not with the federal government. The federal government should not have all those powers that belong to the state in their possession. It should be with the states. And then we should have a broader, if you like, input from the federal government, which would be very minimal, because people in different states need different things. Even in my state, for instance, and I keep raising my state because I can't speak for another state. In my state, for instance, we have riverine area and we have upland. So now the roads, to build a road in riverine area is more expensive than to build a road in upland area. But that does not mean that you can't build a road in the riverine area because it's expensive. No, you must build the same kilometer for me, because we need bridges to interconnect, whereas the upland need roads to interconnect. So these are the problems of Nigerians. And unless the Constitution has looked into it and has taken these problems, and how do we solve these problems and take it on board and begin to solve the problem, you will have a situation where you can't travel from Akwa Ibom to Cross River, which is next door, because the road is so bad. And that is because it's federal government road. It shouldn't be. It should be state road. And so state is responsible to taking care of their roads and so on. So I hope I've given quite a clear picture of why we believe that, yes, of why we believe, the Patriots believe, that this is the right of Nigerians to undertake and hand it over to our representatives, and then work together with our representatives to achieve this, so that we can have the right people representing us and doing what we have asked to do. Look, for instance, we have not had a census in Nigeria for more than 20 years. I mean, how do we begin to say we're more than the 250 million persons? How do we know that? We're just guessing. We can't run a country by guessing how many people are in it.
Thank you so much for your time, Madam Ann-Kio Briggs. You've spoken extensively on the mission of the Patriots, and we will, as New Central, do cover and bring to the public the deliberations of the confab. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.